This guy asked rich investors for money, and they kept saying no. So he asked the internet instead, and now he's a billionaire. Picture this, it's 2013, and John Foley keeps walking into investor meetings with this absolutely wild pitch. He wants to sell bikes for $2,000 each. But these aren't just any bikes. He wants bikes with giant screens attached to them that stream live fitness classes right in your home. And the investors keep looking at him like he's completely lost his mind. Why would anybody pay $2,000 for a bike when going to the gym costs $20 a month? Plus, this guy's background isn't even in fitness or fitness equipment. John Foley was the president of e-commerce at Barnes & Noble. Before that, he ran companies like Avite and worked at tech startups. So meeting after meeting, he keeps getting the same response. The market is too small. It's just a fad. People won't pay a premium for home fitness. The idea felt too capital intensive with too much operational risk. Here's the thing though. John Foley knew exactly what he was talking about. Back in 2011, he was working at Barnes & Noble, watching the Nook e-reader disrupt the book industry. At the same time, he and his wife Jill were obsessed with boutique cycling classes, like SoulCycle in New York City. But they had 2 young kids, and getting to these classes was becoming impossible. John remembers one day when his wife spent over $150 just to attend a single 45-minute cycling class. When you added up childcare and taxi rides, they were spending 2 hours and $150 for a 45-minute workout. That's when the light bulb went off. If books could be digitized, why not fitness classes? So in 2012, John co-founded Peloton with 4 other partners. The name comes from cycling, meaning a group of riders at the front of a race working together. That's what he wanted to create. But turning that vision into reality was brutal. John later said they were rejected by investors between 5,000 and 6,000 times. Can you imagine the mental fortitude to keep pitching after thousands of rejections? He manages to raise some money from angel investors, scraping together small checks from over 100 different people. But it's not nearly enough to build what he's imagining. So in September 2013, he did something completely unexpected. He goes straight to the internet, launching a Kickstarter campaign. The goal was to raise $250,000 to build the manufacturing process. And people started investing. Hundreds of regular folks believed in his vision. The campaign goes live, and within hours, people are pitching in thousands of dollars. Some pledged $1,500 for an early bird bike. Others pledged $10,000 for the bike, accessories, and a trip to New York to meet the team. For just $10, you could reserve a username that would appear on screen to other riders. By the end, 297 people pledged more than $307,000, exceeding the $250,000 goal. Now John has something the investors couldn't ignore, proof that people actually want the thing he's building. Real customers putting real money down, not just theoretical market research. He takes those Kickstarter numbers back to the investors, and suddenly, the conversations change completely. The same people who turned him down are now interested. Lee Fixel from Tiger Global Management becomes one of the first major VCs to invest. John later said getting that investment felt like getting a date with Jennifer Aniston after being rejected by many girls. Lee wired the money a week later. From there, John raises $3.5 million in Series A funding, and the bikes start shipping in 2014. But here's where it gets really interesting. John wasn't just selling exercise equipment. He was building something completely different. Each bike costs $2,000 with a $40 monthly subscription fee to access the content. Right from the beginning, John understood the subscription model. He learned this from his time at Barnes & Noble working on the Nook, where the strategy was to sell the hardware at or near cost and make money from the content subscriptions. So Peloton instructors weren't just fitness teachers. John paid them triple the going rate at boutique studios because he knew they needed to be performers, almost like actors or TV personalities. He told them they would become global celebrities, capable of teaching thousands of people at once instead of just the 50 people who could fit in a physical studio. And here's the craziest part. Customers become absolutely obsessed with the brand. They're working out every single day. They're posting their stats all over social media. They're following their instructors like they're celebrities. The retention rate hits 95% for connected fitness subscriptions. By 2018, they've sold over 400,000 bikes. Celebrities like Hugh Jackman and Richard Branson are using Pelotons. The company expands from just bikes to treadmills, yoga classes, and strength training. In late 2013, John tried something else unconventional. When VC funding was slow, he opened a pop-up store in a luxury shopping mall in New Jersey. This was the opposite of what most tech startups were doing. That 4-month lease resulted in the 4 best months for selling Peloton bikes. From there, they expanded to over 80 retail showrooms across the US, UK, Canada, and Germany. By 2019, the company Peloton went public with an $8 billion valuation. John's stake at the IPO is worth about $450 million. Then by 2021, when the pandemic hits, their valuation absolutely explodes to $50 billion. Revenue grows 140%, hitting over $1 billion in quarterly revenue. The company reaches over 2.6 million members worldwide. John's personal net worth peaks at $1.9 billion. All because he turned to regular people when the so-called smart money kept saying no. Think about that for a second. The professional investors, the venture capitalists who are supposed to be experts at spotting the next big thing, have all passed. They told him it was too risky, the market was too small, people wouldn't pay that much for a bike. Meanwhile, 297 regular people on Kickstarter saw the value immediately and put their own money down. Those early backers understood something the VCs didn't. They understood that convenience matters, that community matters, that people would absolutely pay a premium to get a world-class workout experience in their own home, on their own schedule. My main takeaway from this story is that so-called experts sometimes have absolutely no idea what they're talking about. The people with all the money and experience in the world, the ones who are supposed to have their finger on the pulse of innovation, they completely missed what turned out to be one of the biggest fitness revolutions of the decade. They couldn't see past their own assumptions about what people would or wouldn't pay for, about what was or wasn't a viable market. Meanwhile, regular people on Kickstarter saw the value immediately. Sometimes the crowd really is smarter than the room full of experts. Sometimes the best validation doesn't come from Sand Hill Road venture capitalists, but from real customers willing to put their money where their mouth is. What's your main takeaway from this story? See you in the next video.